Amazing grace, how sweet the sound.
Welcome to Warped Legacy. So, these are all the ingredients we need, and this is the recipe I'm using. The most important part of this recipe is the ratio between the lye and the oils. In this case, sodium hydroxide and beef tallow. To get this, I use the soap calculator at soapcalc.net. I have no affiliation with them. That's just the place I found that calculated how much lye I needed to use based on what type of fat I had, or what type of oil I had, and how much I was using. Alright, so let's get started. So, this is 0.1 ounce lower than it's supposed to be. So I'm going to grab one of my other jars and just... Perfect. So now this is really hard, so I'm just going to stick it in the microwave for a minute, not a minute, stick it in the microwave for a little bit, just soften it up so I can get it all into the crock pot. There are basically two schools of thought on whether you should use a slow cooker specifically for soap or whether you can use one that you also use for other things. On one hand, people say if you're going to make soap in a slow cooker, you should only ever use that slow cooker to make soap. And on the other hand, people say you're making soap, so when you're done making soap, wash out the slow cooker with the soap you just made. And that's where I fall. Now, this is where I'm already going to start screwing with stuff. A lot of people add activated charcoal to soap. Now, they do this for many reasons. They say activated charcoal helps with cleansing your skin, it helps with acne, it helps with all kinds of stuff. I don't know if any of that's true. I don't care if it's any of that's true. All I know is when they use it, it makes the soap black, and I think that's kind of weird, and that's what I'm all about. The problem is, I don't have any activated charcoal. But what I do have is hardwood lump charcoal. Now, what's the difference between this and activated charcoal? Surface area. So, is this activated charcoal? There's a lot more surface area. No, it's not. So is this activated charcoal? Still no. Truth is, I can't make activated charcoal out of this stuff. What I can make is powdered charcoal, which will serve my purposes because it'll turn it just as black as anything else. That looks so cool. So how much of this stuff am I going to use? I don't know. I'm not going to measure it. I am going to put it through this though, to try to make sure there's no chunks. There was still some flour residue in that, so I also added some flour into my soap. That's good and black. No, my counter's all nasty. Now, like I said in my other video, this is a weight for dry sodium hydroxide. But since I have 50% sodium hydroxide, I just double this. And that's how much of my sodium hydroxide liquid I add. And then I take away 2.17 from my water. So here I am subtracting 2.17, and here, and I'm taking that 2.17 that I took away from here, and I'm putting it in here. So here I'm adding 2.17 because that water is already in this solution. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to add 4.34 ounces of the 50% sodium hydroxide solution, and 3.91 ounces of regular water. Most of the recipes I say to use distilled water, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to use my tap water. Deal with it. Now my scale isn't accurate enough to do 3.91, so I'm going to add 3.9 of water and 4.3 of the sodium hydroxide. And I'm just going to add this. That one is just water. And this I'm going to pour slow because I don't want to have to pour back out of it. 4.3 ounces. Well, we got 4.4, and I'm going to say enough of the solution is going to be left clinging to this jar to make it the right amount. So let's move on to the next step. Now I'm going to start using this infrared thermometer to tell what the temperature is in here. And my dog is going to go nuts because he likes to play with that laser. So I'm going to add our lye, and then I'm just going to go stick this in the sink and rinse it out, and I will be right back. So I just went and filled that with water. Now I'm going to get this emulsified. Now I'm at what every soap video I have seen calls a light trace, which is when you pull this thing out, you can still see an outline of where it came from. Now, I might not truly be there because the bubbles make all this easier to see, but I think I am, which means we are done with this. All we need this for is to get everything mixed together and emulsified really well. So I actually mixed this longer than I needed to, because once it's mixed, all that needed is time. Now I'm just gonna leave that sit and cook, but pay attention to it because it can boil over. I'm going to turn that up on high, and I'm going to watch it like a hawk. This isn't going to take as long as I thought it was going to. I need to find something to put it in. I got a mold. Now, I'm not sure if I did something different or if this just went through all the processes faster than I thought they were going to, but I was supposed to leave this in here until this looks like Vaseline. That's exactly what this looks like now, is Vaseline. Only black. But when you run across, it looks like you're running across Vaseline. So what I'm going to do now is what they call a zap test. A lot of people don't like this because you're sticking it on your tongue. Essentially, you stick it on your tongue, and if it stings, there's still lye in there, and if it doesn't sting, then there's not lye in there. Don't feel anything, so I'm pretty sure we got soap. Soap doesn't taste very good, though. Tip of the day, don't eat soap. So now I'm going to add this ruby red grapefruit fragrance oil. Why grapefruit? Because I like grapefruit, so suck it up. Why didn't I add this at the beginning? Because if I add this at the beginning, the smell would have all cooked out. So I'm adding it now so it stays in there. But like I said earlier, I have no problem using the crock pot for making soap, but I'm going to transfer in here before I mix in the fragrance because I don't want my crock pot to smell like grapefruit all the time, and that's what I bought this bowl for. So, out of the crock pot, into the bowl, mix it up, and into here. And I'm going to do this all kind of quick because it's going to start cooling down and getting to this type of texture where you can't work with it. Here we go. Pre-measured fragrance oil. All this stuff does is make the soap smell like grapefruit. If I told you this would make you smell like grapefruit, then it is back into a cosmetic and it's not a soap anymore. But it's not supposed to make you smell like grapefruit. It just smells like grapefruit itself. So, here we go. It's already starting to get hard. We just want to let this sit overnight to harden, and then we will cut it up. It's good to use then, but if you leave it cure for a few days or weeks, it will get harder and last longer. All dishwasher safe. Put everything I used in here. And we're going to talk about the FDA for a minute. Why are we talking about the FDA? Well, that's because the FDA regulates, well, just about everything. But they don't regulate soap. Now, the FDA doesn't regulate soap, but they do regulate cosmetics. Now, what's the difference between a soap and a cosmetic? Nothing, really. The difference is what's on the label. This is my bathroom. It's in progress. That's the tub. Anyway, if we look at this stuff, this is a soap that is more traditionally made than most. I don't know much about it. All I know is I like the way it works, and they were getting rid of it. So, is it a soap or a cosmetic? Let's look at this label here. Ultra moisturizing. That's a cosmetic because it says it's moisturizing. Soap only cleans. So this is regulated by the FDA. Here's something else on the shelf. Let's look at this label here. Healing, hydrating, and calming. Well, it's hydrating and calming. That's not cleaning. So this is a cosmetic. But wait, it also says healing. This is potentially a drug according to the FDA. So as I do, I kind of got impatient and started knocking this thing upside down and trying to get the soap out of it. It's only been a few hours, but all I really need to do is let it cool down, which it has, so it's hardened up. And I was trying to get it out without having to tear up the can, which looks like I've succeeded. Alright, now this is just a real thin blade, and most people would cut this square, but I'm not most people. That looks cool. So I made soap.
Whoa! What are you doing in here? Oh yeah. You gotta see how the soap works. Got a brand new bar for you. Now this one is slightly different from the one I made in the video. This one is not all beef fat, it's half beef fat and half coconut oil. And the only other difference is I sifted the charcoal a little bit finer, so this one isn't as chunky as the other one. And I use this for everything. I use it as my shampoo and everything. Do I look clean?
Shh. We've got to be quiet. It's like 3 a.m. and my wife's sleeping. But I gotta get this video done. So it's soap, and it works. If you want some of this soap, it's gonna be on Etsy. I'll have a link in the description. Thank you for visiting Warped Legacy. If you like this video, hit that like button and let me know in the comments. And if you haven't done it yet, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell to get notifications. And if you like what we're doing here at Warped Legacy, head on over to our Patreon page and show us some support there. Well, that's all I got this time. Till next time, I'm Twan. Go define your legacy. And don't wake up my wife.
See, this is why the dog goes nuts. Now he's whining that I walked away.